Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last session of Developmental Assets for Youth. Today, we're going to talk about life. The good, the not so bad, and the ugly. Is life fair? When I asked this question to my junior and high school students, all of them told me that life is unfair. In what way? They told me that there are so many uncontrollable factors in life. For example, the kind of family we were born with. Some are born into wealth, some poverty. In the previous sessions, we had mentioned that over 50% of American school-age children are eligible for free lunch, which means their family income is below the poverty line. Here are the states with the most people on food stamps, and we're the richest country in the world. We're also born with different kinds of health. Some of my students told me that life is so unfair. They have to deal with digestion or hearing problems that they were born with, versus most of their classmates are born with perfect health. So in that sense, life is indeed unfair. There are also political situations that may not be fair. For example, some of my students mentioned that how African-American people are treated differently, or how Asian students are treated differently in college admission. Yes, there are also those man-made unfairness. Many of my students told me that life is unfair because of those unfortunate tragedies. For example, a few days ago, a 6-year-old boy died in a road rage shooting in Southern California, but just devastating. Anger makes people stupid. Road rage, as I mentioned in our first lesson on emotional regulation, emotions can kill when we cannot keep them under check. What happened before this shooting was that the boy's mother put up a middle finger to the other car who had did something wrong to her car. You know, I cannot help but wondering, what if she never did that? Will that prevent this tragedy from happening? There are also, not murders that are not that random. For example, in February, a Yale student, excellent student and dedicated Christian, was killed on the street. And in May, they arrested the suspect, who actually know the victim. Both are students from elite colleges. That means do not count knowledge or how intelligent you are in learning as the criteria to judge your readiness for life. I feel so bad. Both are apparently gifted in order to get into such elite universities, and both lives ended such tragically. By the way, just some information for you. Actually, we counting the murders in 2019, this is the data from FBI, we actually have more homicides done by people that we know. Some are by family members and some are by other known offenders than the homicides committed by strangers. What does that tell us? What we talked about in the 19th lesson. Be kind to people around you. Find ways to help others if you can. Always show respect and never hurt anybody's feelings because we are all born equal as human. Don't do to others what we don't want others do to us. Make sure that you enjoy that healthy relationship that will actually come back to you to support you and help you in life. Like we talked about in the first few slides, life can be unfair if we focus on those things that we cannot control. But on the other hand, life has a lot of fairness in it. For example, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. but we use it differently. Everyone has just one life to live on earth. Doesn't matter what's your wealth, health, or political classes. We only have one shot in life. That is fair. The world is full of people. 5 billion people, based on the picture that we have here. We're just one of them. Yes, we are very small. We may be small, but we mean everything to ourselves, our families, and our friends. So do not underestimate your power on this earth. The butterfly effect was originally found out in weather science by mathematician and meteorologist. They found out that a random, seemingly insignificant act, such as a flip of a butterfly wings, may lead to a tornado weeks later somewhere else in this world. This is often used to remind us that our small act of kindness can lead to major impact on the community. So when you can give somebody a hand, do that. Here is a book by Tara Westover. She was a girl born in a family in Idaho with a father who does not believe in government or schools. She never got a chance to go to regular schools. She was forced to do work with her father, which is very dangerous, picking up scrap metal to make a living. She made a difference in her life by going to college against her father's will. She never got the regular formal education before college. She taught herself. That one difference she made for herself impacted millions of people around the world. She now holds a PhD in history from Oxford University in England. I really love the quote from this book. Education is not so much about making a living as making a person. And the kind of person she made herself through education now is making a difference around the readers of this book. We may be small, but we can do things that within our power to have an impact on this world. For example, Teach for America. They are able to bring young college students to different part of the country that really needs the resources of teachers. Many college students' lives are changed through this job. They found out their value in helping others. They made a difference in many children's lives. We can also make a difference on the other end, which is we bring trouble or sorrow or anxiety and sadness to people around us if we do not keep our emotions under control or be mindful of what we say and what we do. Like a kick the cat effect. In psychology, it refers to the negative emotions passed based on the letters, like from strong to the weakest. Like the father may got scolded at work, and then he'll end up going back home and punish the child unfairly. And the hurt child will kick the cat. So the weakest one on the link will get the most negative impact. So please do not be that kick the cat effect starter. Keep our emotions under check. And I'm confident that you already grasped all the skills that we talked about to do that. Our actions are indeed impacted by our environment, just like kick the cat effect. When we're treated unfairly, it's very easy for us to lash out to somebody else. And Dr. Philip Zimbardo showed how the environment can impact our words and actions through the famous Stanford prison experiment. So this experiment was conducted in 1971. Actually, it's an unfinished experiment. It was intended for 14 days. They ended end that in 6 days. Why? Because they noticed very unexpected, significant change on people's personality and behaviors because of the environment. So originally, the experiment is designed for 24 very typical developing college students. So they were tested before the experiment. Their emotions were stable, and they're very intelligent and respectful. And in other words, they look all equal from all aspects. But once the experiment started, they were randomly divided into the guards and the prisoners. They found out very soon people's behavior start to change. The guards enforced authoritarian measures, became psychologically abusive, and harassed prisoners, even though they were equal and respectful before the experiment started. And the prisoners, their behavior became more passive throughout this 6 days. A third of the guards even became cruel, and a third did nothing, and a third tried to help. The prisoners, some got really upset and uncontrollable crying and rage and left early. But most refused to leave, even though they were given the option. What happened? Seemingly normal, healthy college students, their behavior changed so dramatically just because of the position they were assigned to. This classic psychological experiment was made into a documentary. And it's a very stunning how people's behavior changed because of the environment. So what does this tell us? 2 things. We actually are acting or saying things or behaving based on what we believe we are. If we believe we are the prisoner, we may become more abusive and cruel towards other human beings, just because that position triggered the side of us in us, the evilness, the badness. And also, it could make us accept the abuse, like the prisoners. So lack of courage and confidence and all that may make it very easy for us to give up, even trying to protect ourselves. So this experiment also told us that we are all limited by our mindset or what we believe we are. What is locking you up? In your studies and in your life, I hope you're aware of the kind of conclusions you're putting on your head or in your mind. Things like, girls are just not good at math. I'm a girl, that's why I'm bad with math. Remember the example I told you? That's how I used to believe myself. When I was in China, between first grade all the way to high school graduation, my classmates' performance made me believe that I'm really bad with math. And then I got to the doctoral program at Temple University. My Jewish advisor insisted that I'm from China. All Chinese students are good at math. Therefore, you must be good at math. And he trusted me with all this work involving statistics. That's when I found out that when I took away my lock or took away my prison of the belief that I'm poor in math, I can actually do statistics quite well. As a matter of fact, before that happens, I had data to show me that same idea too, but I refused to look at. I actually scored 800 out of 800 on GRE back in 1994, which is a full mark. So, but I still believe that I'm really bad at math, even with that score, until the professor trusted me with math and I was able to do the work. So what is locking you up? I want you to think about it. Think about the things you're not willing to try, or you feel like, oh, I'm just bad at that, or I'm always going to be like this. When you're hearing this kind of statements, be careful. Make sure that you find evidence to defeat it so that nothing is locking you up and nothing's preventing you from developing to your fullest. The experiment also told us that we probably are born with both the goodness and the badness in our heart. Luckily, we all have the conscious. So what is your choice? Like the sorting hat in Harry Potter. He has a voice that told him to go to Slytherin, but he chose to go to Gryffindor. I hope when you're put in that position, when you have the choice to do the good and the bad, make the choice that fits your value. We have the control. Yes, life is full of unexpected tragedies, natural disaster, unemployment that has nothing to do with your performance just because the whole department was taken out or the whole company closed. Marriage crisis, you two might have fall in love and then just didn't work out after a few years and you feel lost. A car accident, illnesses. Many of us lost relatives, loved ones to cancer. So all this make life such an adventure. But there are things we can control. For example, love that saves. Under all these different kinds of disasters or changes and crisis and stress in life, if we felt that connection with people who love us, we'll never give up. When I ask my students, if you're put in the position of the prisoner, will you give up and just accept the abuse passively? Many of my students told me no, because they know they're better than the way they were treated. They will fight back. They will not accept that. They will be strong. That because they have the foundation for their strength, which is their parents' love or friends' love, and all this love that changing into part of them, make them strong emotionally, knowing that they worth more. So Harry Potter's a story of how he can defeat Voldemort when he was just a baby, because his mom protected him with her love. It's not just a fiction. Actually fits many, many studies in psychology when they found out that during the infant years, when the children were taken care of promptly, they build this trust in this world, and they build the trust in themselves, knowing that they're significant because their needs are cared for right away. So that power will follow the children all their life and protect them from others' abuse. Just like this empathy example that I gave to you 2 lessons ago. I feel so lucky for this girl. She will always feel strong because she knew that her mom will love her, care about her, no matter what happens to her. So she's such a wise mom too. I applaud for this mom to show empathy in such a strong way, without any word, but it's louder than any word. So what would you do with the extra bonus hour if we have 25 hours in a day? This question is similar to the question that I asked you several lessons ago. What if this is your last day on earth? What would you do? Most of my students choose to spend that extra hour with their family members or doing something they really love. These kind of questions will help us to line up our priorities straight. That will help us to find out what we really want to invest our limited time on earth on, so we can make best out of our life. That question will help us to find our whys. Once we find our whys, we'll find our purpose in life. That purpose will bring the motivation to push us forward no matter what happens. At your age, you still have a lot of time to explore. You may not settle on any idea what you want to make your life yet. Take your time. There's some things are way too urgent to be rushed. So make sure that you are not just engaged in things to ask your question, what to do, and do things so that took away all your time. Make sure that you set your time aside to think about why you're doing what you're doing. Because only when you create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life, that you can become the best you, because we are what we believe in. So make sure you set aside time to think about what you want to be, what's the purpose of your life, what kind of things that you want to spend your time and effort on. So we did spend a couple sessions on goal, how to find your goals, find the direction. Once we have the goal, how to get there. I hope you remember everything we talked about in this series. Yes, we can get to where we want to be through good habits. I'm so glad that many of my students remember, yes, be proactive, begin with end in mind, put first things first, and think win-win situations, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize with people so we can get the best out of the team. 1 + 1 is bigger than 2. And last but not least, sharpen the saw so that we take care of ourselves. We're always in the best physical and mental state to face the challenges in life. I'm so glad that my students who went through that set of classes remembered how powerful those habits could be. They can help us get control of our lives and improve our relationships, which is essential for our happiness, make smarter decisions and overcome self-destructive habits, define our value and get more done in less time and increase our self-confidence. So if you did not get a chance to take this class, make sure to check out that 10-lesson series. We also spend 18 lessons on positive youth. Many of my students told me that that's what they found out to be most helpful in order to reach their goals. Because the purpose of positive youth is to put the dimensions of happiness into our learning and lives, to help us to raise our authentic happiness level. Those are PERMA, positive emotions, E, engagement, things that we enjoy to do to reach that flow state. R, positive relationships, because that's essential for our mental health and physical health and just overall well-being. Meaning, things that why we're doing this, connect our talents with something, some higher cause in life, accomplishment. So all this will help us to feel the sense of achievement and feel good about ourselves, and then we can raise our happiness, which in turn will make us actually be more effective in what we do. We also spend a whole 20 lessons on executive functioning skills. So emotional control, flexible thinking, working memory, self-monitoring, also the sustained attention, planning, prioritizing, task initiation, organization, impulse control. All these are essential for us to put our vision or our goals into actionable plan, into acts and words in each day. So if you forgot about how we do that exactly, go back and review the first 19 lessons. Many of my students told me that habits are the keys to successful, fulfilling life. Yes, they're definitely right. How to build a new habit if you recognize that your old habits are not benefiting you or even limiting you from reaching your potentials. There are 3 R's of habit formation. First of all, reminders. For example, if you really want to work the best to get the best possible grades so that you can enter college to study study in medical school, so that you can find a cure for a cancer that killed one of your family members. Reminder, you can put up a poster of that medical school's building. And also you can put up smaller reminders of, oh, in order to get good grades so that I can get into medical school, I need to sleep on time. I need to do my homework, arrange them accordingly so that I can get enough sleep, make sure I always in the best physical state to face my day-long learning. So maybe I'll put up a sticker or put up a alarm in my cell phone to remind me that, every day, 7 o'clock, I'm going to start doing my homework, and then by 11 o'clock, I'm in bed. So this kind of reminder will help us to start a routine of behaviors that will benefit us. And once we can do that, for example, build up a habit of going out to exercise 30 minutes each day at a certain time. Once that becomes a routine, and then you're going to feel the reward, because after running, your body is going to produce a serotonin that will raise the happiness level in your body, and you feel good about yourself, and you look fit, and you feel so confident. So that will become a circle that will enable us to repeat this action again and again until it becomes a habit. How many days does it take to build a new habit? For action that doesn't require change of mindset, such as go out running for 30 minutes per day, and that kind of habits probably take about 21 days. But for other habits that takes the change of mindset, such as procrastination, to build, that takes up to 90 days. But either way, 21 or 90, that's only a small part of our life. The amount of time that's worth investing in order to acquire or master a habit or build a habit that will benefit us for the rest of our lives. After all, 40% of our daily actions are based on habits. Imagine once that's built into your routine, how much time and effort that will save you in the long run. I want to end this lesson with the same slide that we talked about in the 7 habits for highly effective teams. Sow a thought and you reap action. An act leads to a habit leads to a character, and a character leads to a destiny. So this way, we're not going to be passively or reactively just to survive life, like a tree barely live. We are going to be proactive and thriving, which means we're going to grow to be as big as we can. That's the state I want each of you to be in, so that you enjoy life to the fullest because you develop your potentials into the fullest. So not only just survive life, but thrive in life. As a conclusion, life is hard. Life is not fair in many, many ways. Life could hurt sometimes. But if we focus on what is within our power to change for the better, we can make a difference for ourselves, and we can in turn be a leader for others. Like we talked about last session, when our actions inspire others, we are a leader. I wish you recognize the not so good part of life, but still embrace it, knowing that there are many things we actually can control. Like the circle I showed you before, things we can control, things we cannot. We accept those that we cannot control, such as the health issues we're born with. But we also embrace those things that we can control, like how we deal with it, what's our attitude or mindset with it. Disasters happen every day. The same disaster will trigger different reactions from different people. That's all depends on what kind of interpretation we have on events that happened around us. Hope you find that mindset, practice that attitude, and the ABCDE debate, so that we can change everything into a learning opportunity. That is something we can control. That is something we can make sure that we can make the best out of the one life, the only one life we have on earth. Thank you so much for finishing this 20-lesson series with me. I hope you picked out at least 1 point from each lesson and put that into use so that your life, your relationships, your learning are more effective and better. Thanks again for your trust. I hope to see you in some other lessons some other day.